Hi, welcome back. I'm your host, Susanna May O'Hagan. Today we're going to talk about the Chowchilla case. Ray received a California School Employees Association for outstanding community service. Before he died on May 17, 2012, he was visited by many of the school children he had helped save. In 2015, the Chowchilla renamed a sports and Lassie Park as the Edward Ray Park and declared every February 26th Ray's birthday Ed Ray Day. A study found that the kidnapped children suffer from panic attacks, nightmares involving kidnappings and death, and personality changes. Many develop fears such as cars, the dark, the wind, the kitchen, mice, dogs, and hippies. And one shot a Japanese tourist with a BB gun when the tourist's car broke down in front of his house. Many of the children continue to report symptoms of trauma at least 25 years after the kidnapping, including substance abuse, a depression, and a number have been in prison for doing something controlling to somebody else. The treatment of young victims of trauma have been guided by what was learned about the effects of the Chowchilla kidnapping on the children who were abducted. In 2016, the 25 survivor victims settled a lawsuit they had filed against their kidnappers. The money they received was paid out of Frederick Wood's trust fund, and although the exact settlement amount was not disclosed, one survivor stated that they had each received enough to pay for some serious therapy, but not enough for a house. Frederick Newhall Woods was repeatedly denied parole. In pop culture, American coroner Robert Gilley released a ballad about the incident in 1977 entitled Ballad of Chowchilla Ray, a 2-hour made-for-television movie about the incident titled They've Taken Our Children. The Chowchilla kidnapping aired on ABC on March 1st, 1993. It starred Carl as Ray and Julie Harris as his wife. The kidnappings are featured in Buried Alive, the 7th episode of Season 2 of Investigation Discovery, Hours of Horror, Kidnapped. Buried Alive aired on April 21st, 2015 and is told from the point of view of Marshall, the oldest of the children, who was instrumental in their escape. Also in 2015, an episode of Inside Edition reunites some of the women who had been kidnapped as children. They gave their of the abduction. The bus, which is now stored in Chowchilla Farm Warehouse, was shown as well. 48 Hours examined the abduction in 2019 episode Live to Tell, the Chowchilla kidnapping, as well as the March 18, 2023 episode Remember the Chowchilla kidnapping. On December 3rd, 2023, CNN aired a documentary of the kidnapping simple child, the Chowchilla. So, let's continue. Chowchilla's true story. What happened to the kidnappers and victims? Okay. Maybe we should start with something a little. Although July 15th, 1976 is a day that the community of Chowchilla would like to forget forever, it is a piece of Chowchillan history. The crime transfixed the nation and affected many people in our quiet farming community. The following information was gathered from printed newspaper accounts. On July 15, 1976, I'm a little creeped out because right now it is July 8th, 2024. A busload of children aged 5 to 14 and their school bus driver, Ed Ray, then 55, was abducted on a country road in Murray County, and at 4 p.m. on their way back from a swimming out on the fairgrounds. The bus was later found empty, covered with bamboo and brushed in a drainage ditch 9 miles away west of town. The victims, 19 girls and 7 boys along with Ray, were driven around for 11 hours in 2 vans before being embalmed in moving van and buried in a Livermore rock quarry. After 16 hours underground in an 8-foot by 16 square space, 2 of the older children and Ray were able to escape after digging themselves out with only their hands, cutting themselves along the way. The 27 were found in a remote area near the Sheriff Cliffs, East Bay Original Park, and were taken to the nearby Santa Rita Rehabilitation Center, where they were pronounced in good condition. The children and their bus driver returned safely to Chowchilla by a police escort bus shortly before dawn on July 17, 1976. Investigation dug up the van and learned it had been buried in the quarry in November 1975. The 100-acre Pearl Valley estate of the quarry owner, Frederick Nickerson Woods, was searched. Woods' son, Fred, 24, was missing. Authorities issued an all-points bulletin for young Woods and his 2 friends, James and his brother Richard, son of a wealthy proletariat artist. Officials said they discovered a rough draft of a $5 million ransom note on the Woods estate. On July 23, 1976, Richard, accompanied by his attorney and father, surrendered voluntarily in Oakland and was held in lure of $1 million bail. On July 29th, Woods was captured in British Columbia, and James was arrested in Mellon Park while reportedly preparing to surrender. On November 5th, a Miranda County judge ordered the trial be moved from Marin County, and on November 10th, it was assigned to Aladdin County. In 1977, on July 25th, Woods and the Scofields pleaded guilty to 27 counts of kidnapping for ransom, and the pre-session dropped 18 counts of robbery. Then, on December 15th, 1977, a Supreme Court judge found the trio guilty of 3 counts of kidnapping with bodily harm, which usually carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. The trio was sentenced to life in prison, but by 2022, all 3 kidnappers had been paroled. Richard was paroled from prison in June 2012, and his brother James was released in August 2015. Frederick was recommended for parole on March 25, 2020. The recommendation required the approval of the full parole board and the board's legal division of California governor. On August 17, 2022, Woods' parole had been granted, and he was to be released from prison. Remember the tragedy. Today, the bus kidnapping event is still remembered with strong emotions. A granted monument dedicated to the victims is located to the Chowchilla Police Department to mark where the victims were reunited with their families. On February 26, 2015, Ed Ray's birthday, the city of Chowchilla officially renamed and dedicate the city's largest park and home to many activities as Edward Ray Park. A look inside the truck trailer were 26 abducted school children and their bus driver were buried alive and managed to escape. On July 15th, 1976, 26 school children and their bus driver from Chowchilla, California, were kidnapped and buried alive in this tractor trailer. The kidnapped children. Here's a photo of all of them. The frightening ordeal began with the children aged 5 to 14 were on a school bus on their way home from summer school. Bus driver Ed Ray. Around 4 p.m. on July 16, 1976, 3 masked men with guns hijacked the Dairyland Elementary School bus by Ed Ray, the abandoned school bus. The kidnappers then drove the bus into a dry river bed and hid it in the tree bushes. Excuse me. One of the kidnappers' vans. The stunned children were herded from the bus into two vans. They were forced to jump from the bus to the van so that they would not leave behind any footprints. Scared students. Jeffrey Brown Hyde, who was 9 at the time of the kidnapping, remember it felt like inside the van. I felt like I was an animal going to the slaughterhouse. Inside one of the vans. Yeah, this is really creepy. Inside the van, the kidnappers had constructed makeshift jail cells by installing wood panels and painted the windows. No one could see in or out, and there was no air, ventilation, food, water, or toilets. Jude's turn. Judy was 10 at the time, remembered the moment before she got into the school van. He held a shotgun to my stomach, and I had to stand there with this gun in my gut until one van drove away and they backed the second van up. It felt like forever. I thought he was going to shoot me. I actually did. The rock quarry. The kidnappers drove around for nearly 12 hours as the children suffered inside the sweltering, pitch-black van. Finally, the van stopped. The kidnappers had taken them to a rock quarry 100 miles away from Chowchilla in Livermore, California. The underground hole. Yuck. Bus driver Ed Ray and the children were taken out of the van, one by one, and set down into a hole. They soon learned they were inside an old truck trailer and they had been buried 12 feet underground. The underground hole. The kidnappers had made toilets in the wheel wells of the tractor trailer. The underground hole. Inside the hole, the children found containers filled with water for them to drink. They also found boxes of cereal, peanut butter, and loaves of bread. Ventilation pipes. 2 ventilation pipes provided air to the children who were trapped 12 feet underground. The trailer caving. The children tried to stay calm as the minutes and hours ticked by. After being in the hole for almost 12 hours, conditions started to deteriorate. The roof started to cave in, and they were running out of food. Shoes left behind. Survivor Jennifer Brown Hyde said it was just a desperate situation. We thought if we were going to die, we're going to die trying to get out of here. Ray and the kids decided they had to try and to escape before it was too late. A hero. Bus driver Ed Ray and Michael Marshall, 14, took turns pushing up on the heavy manhole cover that was blocking the opening to the hole. Once they were able to move that, Michael started the task of digging on the top. Survivors. After many grueling hours, Michael Marshall dug himself to the top. It had been 24 hours of terror. Ed Ray and the children walked towards the rock quarry and were greeted by stunned workers. Soon police arrived, and photos like these were taken of each child as evidence. The long wait. Police took school bus driver Ed Ray and children to the closest place that could hold them all, the Santa Rita Rehabilitation Center, a local jail. Pictured at center is Jennifer Brown. The long wait. At the St. Rita Rehabilitation Center, the children were given apples and soda and examined by doctors. Ed Ray and the children were interviewed by police. The long wait. The children waited patiently, but they all wanted to go home to their families. Survivors headed home. Finally, approximately 4 hours after escaping, the children boarded yet another bus. Survivors headed home. This time, the bus was headed back home to Chowchilla. Survivors headed home. The children could not wait to be reunited with their families. Anxious parents wait. Parents and families of the returning children waited approximately for the arrival of their children inside the Chowchilla police station on July 17, 1976. Reunited. When 6-year-old survivor Larry Park arrived home to his parents, he said, "I finally felt safe again." Park is pictured in the arms of his father. Digs for clues. Immediately, police officers started to dig for clues at the scene of the crime, unearthing the trailer. Investigators unearthed the truck trailer that had been the children's underground tomb, hoping they would find clues that would lead them to the kidnappers. The media arrives. Media from all over the world covered the story. Kidnappers arrested. Well, looks like we'll have to do another part. I didn't realize how long this would be.